Hello, everybody. Welcome to your very favorite Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen. As always, I'm joined by
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right. And this week we have reviewed a comic featuring a superheroine. Why don't you tell everybody what we're reviewing?
Well, Michael, I love monkeys, cats, and squirrels. They're my three favorite animals. The holy trinity of animals.
Okay.
So we're going to read The Cat, issue 1 from 1972. Now, sometimes you hear people call this Beware the Claws of the Cat, as if that's like the full title. But it's not the full title. It's just The Cat.
Okay. Right? I thought it was The Claws of the Cat, but yeah, I guess you're right.
So, I don't know. But The Cat, that's what we're going with.
Okay.
The Cat, number 1 from 1972. Now, Michael, we talked a little bit about this when we did Ms. Marvel. We talked about how Marvel was looking for female-driven titles and superheroes. And because in the 1950s, Michael, when the superheroes were, not so popular, they disappeared off the face of the earth for some reason. 40% of Marvel's books were aimed at female readers.
Wow, really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like Millie the Model and Patsy Walker. Some popular ones. So then when the superheroes re-emerged with like the Fantastic Four and stuff in 1963, Marvel replaced many of the girl books with superhero titles because their distribution deal at the time limited the number of books they could sell per month.
Right, like 8 or something like that, right, I think?
So they couldn't put out a new superhero book unless they took back a book. So that meant they had to take down a girl's book and put up the superheroes. So then in 1968, the distribution deal changed and Marvel could release more books. So between the fall of 1971 and the fall of 1972, Marvel doubled their monthly titles. So Stan Lee wanted to introduce more female-driven books, and he came up with 3 ideas. You remember the 3 ideas?
Geez.
Hint. We're reading one of them today.
Oh, okay. Is it The Claws of the Cat?
Well, it's just the cat. Yeah, the cat.
Oh, right. Just the cat. Okay, that's one. Ms. Marvel, was that one?
No. She didn't come along until later.
Oh, okay. Red Sonja. No.
Red Sonja was 1975.
Okay.
She was next after this first wave. But we're looking for the cat, Shauna the She-Devil.
Oh.
And the Night Nurse.
Night Nurse. Wow. Okay.
They were the 3. And they were hugely successful. No, they weren't.
Okay. I was going to say, this one lasted 4 issues. So.
Yes. The Cat lasted 4 issues. Night Nurse lasted 4 issues. And Shauna the She-Devil made it 5 issues.
Wow.
That's it. And then Red Sonja was the next female book, heroine book, and that was 1975. And of course, she was just a real sexy lady in a chainmail bikini. So really, I don't know if it was really too feminist, but
right.
But in this early launch here, the Cat is definitely about women's lib and feminism. You could say it's pretty
right. Definitely, there's no subtext; it's just text.
No, hit you over the head with it. But it's cutting edge. 1972. We got to keep that in mind. So this character, the Cat, she also appeared in Marvel Team Up number 8 with Spider-Man in 1973. Remember
nice.
That?
Okay.
The character's name is Greer Nelson. Greer Nelson. Greer Grant, we get the double G alliteration. That was mostly a DC thing, right? Or Stanley did that too.
Yeah,
Peter
Stanley.
Parker.
Yeah, Bruce Banner. There's a lot of people. Richard. Yeah.
So I was thinking of Lois Lane, Lex Luthor. But yeah.
Clark Kent. Kind of.
Yeah, sound-wise at least.
Yeah.
So the character was created by Roy Thomas, your boy Roy.
All right.
And Wally Wood.
Oh, okay.
And Wally Wood is the inker in this issue today.
Yes.
But now people get confused because they think the Cat became Hellcat. That is not true. Because Hellcat would join the Defenders and, that is Patsy Walker, correct? They made the Patsy Walker.
Right. It's confusing. Yes.
But she did not. This Cat, Greer Grant, and Nelson was her married name there. She becomes Tigra.
Right.
and it's very confusing.
So,
but Pat, I'll explain something else about Patsy Walker later.
Okay.
But, yeah. Did you have a question about this?
Well, I was going to point out that someone whose powers, she wore a cat-like costume, then later coincidentally mutated into a cat-like person,
Yes.
but that's fine.
You do point this out quite a lot.
Yes. That happens.
So we'll get into some more details about that story about how she gets the tiger as we go through the book, because once we meet some of these characters and stuff.
Okay.
But Tiger's first appearance was in Giant-Sized Creatures #1.
Okay.
1974. And it's not like the book was based about giant-sized creatures. It's just a big book about creatures.
Okay.
And she was created by Tony Isabella and Don Perlin.
Okay.
And I don't know about this, Michael, but do you think Tigra, being like an orange furry cat with black stripes, inspired Heathcliff and Garfield?
Could be. You never know. Yep.
You never know. You never know. So the creators for the Cat #1, the writer is Linda Fite. And I'm guessing no one has ever heard of her, but she was initially hired as an editorial assistant, production assistant at Marvel, but she kept asking for writing assignments. So Roy Thomas eventually gave her some backup stories in X-Men and the Rawhide Kid.
Wow.
So writing this book here was her big break. She wrote all 4 issues of The Cat. She also did one fill-in issue of Night Nurse, and that's it. But she married Herb Trimpe.
There you go. Love Herb Trimpe.
Who at the time, I believe, was drawing The Incredible Hulk.
Right. He was drawing it most of the time in the 70s. I believe he did like 12 years, didn't he?
I have no idea.
He did a lot, yeah.
You're my Herb Trimpe expert.
Yeah, there you go.
He learned me on how to pronounce his name. So.
Right.
She's also famous for helping bring in Barry Windsor Smith to Marvel.
Whoa, that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, because he would always send them stuff, I guess, and she sent him an encouraging letter back saying, it's nice work, keep it up or whatever. So he took that as an invitation, and he showed up at Marvel's offices.
Wow, awesome.
Because he was, over in England, right? So he had to come over.
He was the first British artist to work for Marvel or DC, I think, as far as I know.
So she took him in and like showed him to some editors and stuff, and they showed him some more. They became good chums. She went on to work as a newspaper reporter and is the managing editor of a local New York paper even today, I believe. So
very cool.
Linda Fite. And we're just going to talk about the creators here up front. So what the hell?
Sure.
The artist here is Marie Severin. Very famous, Marie Severin. And she was born in East Rockaway, New Jersey in 1929. Sadly, she passed away in 2018 at the age of 89.
Wow.
Her older brother, John, was working as a penciler for EC Comics. Do you remember EC Comics?
Of course. Got a few of them myself, yep.
You remember, did it stand for Exciting Comics? Or?
No, I think it was Educational Comics.
No, I don't think.
No? I'll look it up.
Maybe Entertaining Comics.
Was it?
I don't know. Yeah, this is the part of the show where we Google.
Oh, look at this. Entertaining Comics. Mike Dell is correct.
Oh, we brought this segment over from the LCS show where we just Google things. But yeah, it's the Entertaining Comics. So EC Comics. So yeah, her brother was an artist there, and he needed help coloring an issue. So he got Marie to help him out. And the issue was A Moon, a Girl, Romance, issue 9 from 1949. An interesting title. A Moon, a Girl, ... romance.
That's almost as good as Dark of the Moon.
So she became a regular colorist for EC until it folded in the mid-50s because of that damn comics code.
Right.
The comics code put them out of business. And at EC, she kind of got, it's kind of like an urban legend about her that she would, if she didn't like a panel or she thought it was too gory, she would color it blue.
Really? No, I never heard this. Nope.
Kind of like a famous story about her, but it's not true. She didn't. She would try and like obscure the gory stuff to make it less offensive in a way, but also to make the panel more pleasing to the eye. So she would often color solid yellow or solid blue, but it wasn't an editorial thing she was doing. She was just trying to make the panel more pleasing to look at. But yeah, even today people still think she used to make panels blue, but no, not really.
Interesting.
So after EC Comics folded, she worked briefly for Atlas Comics, which of course became Marvel.
Right.
And then she went to work for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, doing graphics and art stuff for them. So that's something. But in 1959, she went back to working for Marvel. And when Esquire magazine asked Marvel for an artist to draw a feature on the college drug culture, Marie got the gig since all the regular artists were on deadline. Stan Lee liked what she did, and she assigned her to draw Doctor Strange in Strange Tales.
Really? Nice.
She did issues 153 to 160, and this was in 1967. Stan Lee was writing those issues, and I think Ditko did Doctor Strange, and then there's someone else, and then her. I can't remember who else.
Oh, is it? Was it Gene Colan? No, it wasn't Gene Colan.
I don't think.
No, I can't remember who it was. Yeah.
But anyway, it's a pretty good gig for her drawing that. She was Marvel's head colorist until 1972, and then she gave up some of those responsibilities so she could pursue more penciling work. And she also did some inking and lettering. She did everything.
Right.
She drew 12 of the first 13 issues of Not Brand Eck in 1967.
Oh yeah.
We talked about that previously when we did What The, but that was like the predecessor for What The.
Right.
Like a comedic satire little book. And I guess she did, those were kind of like anthologies, right? So I doubt she did the whole issue, right? Or was it kind of like What The, where there was little stories?
I'm sure there was various. Yeah.
I figure. 1968, she did the Incredible Hulk issues 102 to 105 and annual number 1. She drew 14 issues of The Submariner between issues 9 and 45 from 1969 to 1972. Then from 71 to 73, she did Call the Conqueror, issues 2 through 10.
Very cool.
That was kind of like a Conan ripoff, right? Or...
Yeah, he wasn't. No, I think he was also created by Robert E. Howard, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he just ripped himself off.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the same kind of thing, though, right? Like a fantasy kind of deal.
Yeah.
She did 5 issues of Crazy magazine between 1975 and 1981. Again, that was a crazy magazine, like comical, like satire stuff. And Mike Yell, 1984, she did G.I. Joe issue 28.
What? No way. That's pretty cool.
And also in 1984, she did the A-Team issue 1.
Really?
I didn't know the A-Team had a book. We might have to
review that. Yeah, I knew about that.
1985 and 86, she did the first 8 issues of Fraggle Rock.
Get out of town, really?
In 1985 to 1987, she did 14 of the first 16 issues of Muppet Babies.
Whoa, she's getting the good books.
1988 to 1993, she did 6 issues of What The.
Nice.
And that's about it for all the big stuff. She did. But again, throughout this time, she was also doing a lot of covers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, she was coloring, inking, lettering. So she was doing a bunch of stuff throughout this time. And she is a member of the Will Eisner Comics Hall of Fame.
Nice. She deserves it.
But she's one of the most prominent female, at least the earliest female creators, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And that was one of the things they did with these female-driven books here in 1972. They all had all-female, at least writers and artists created.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even today, that's rare, no?
Yeah, it's getting better, but Wonder Woman only had one female writer for the first 50 years. So yeah, it's still tough to get that.
Now, sadly, Roy Thomas didn't exactly do a thorough search to find female talent.
Not quite.
At least for the writers. Linda Fite was an editorial assistant working there, and then he hired the wife of one of his buddies, and then he hired his own wife to do the other one.
Right, yeah. Who's around today? Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but, at least he tried. So there it is. There's the people behind The Cat, issue 1. 1972. Any questions about all that?
Questions? I don't know. Not really.
All right.
I like this costume, though. It's pretty cool. We can talk about that later, I guess, eh?
Yeah, let's get right into the cover here.
Sure. Okay, so we got and by the way, just for the record, while we were talking, I did look up on Wikipedia, I looked up Tigra, and sure enough, they credit her first appearance as The Claws of the Cat, number 1.
Yeah, see, depending on what you read, I've seen it called Beware the Claws of the Cat, just the cat. But look at the top of the heading there, Michael, the little ribbon across the top, Marvel Comics strip. It's just the cat.
Yeah, you're right.
Cat.
You're right. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Okay, so we got the cat. Marvel Comics Group ribbon, #1, 20 cents. Beware the claws of the cat. And then we see, this is before the corner boxes. We had corner circles, or whatever you want to call them. We got this really cool shot of the cat, her face, and then her claws coming through, because, it is
her hands, like,
right,
kind of like a creepy horror comic. Her hands,
right. And
but, Michael, I dig the font for the cat.
Very cool. Yep.
It's got like jagged claws on the end of each letter. Like,
right.
So I like that a lot, and it's yellow trimmed in red. So.
Right. And we got to talk about
on a black background too. So
yes, pops out. It's very cool. We got to talk about this costume because her mask. I love her mask.
Okay.
It's so cool. So if you can picture like a the classic Catwoman mask with like the cat ears, but her hair's sticking out. And she has like yellow, well, I don't know what to call them other than big, gigantic eyebrows above her eyes. And then she kind of has like cat eyes, like, what are those called? Like diamond-shaped irises or whatever? Not diamond, but you know what I mean. Oval. Kind of
they're like almond-shaped.
Yeah,
eyes,
yeah. And then her mask, her face is showing, so that's kind of cool. And then she's got...
her mouth.
Yeah, her mouth. And then she's got a yellow bodysuit with... blue gloves and blue boots, but they both have claws on them. And then she has a blue, like, what do you call this? A sash?
Yeah, like a belt sash.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, like if you think of Batman's cow, and it's just instead of bat ears, it's like got cat ears.
Right. Plus, it's got the yellow above the eyes. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like exaggerated eye makeup almost.
Right. And so yeah, on this cover, she's kind of like walking / creeping a little bit towards you with her claws out, right, ready to pounce. And then around her is like this montage of scenes. One scene is her in this like one of those, what are they called? Not hospital beds, but like, one of those things you're in when you get experimented on. I don't know.
yeah, kind of like a tube of some sort.
Right. Tube.
But there's like a laser above her, and
right.
Being experimented on. You can tell. And,
right. And then above her, and then to the right, she's fighting this monster guy. And then below that, she's leaping through the air from building to building.
Yeah, and it's like raining, and the coloring is all like red background,
right?
Like all red hues, so you can see Marie Severin doing work here.
Right, and the cat is yellow and blue, so she really stands out. So it's very cool. And then it says, "How did a beautiful girl gain the uncanny powers of a killer beast?" And then below that, amazing origin issue. Very cool.
Yeah, and then of course, upper left, there's a yellow, or I'm sorry, I don't know my colors. A green box that says,
"Right." Oh yeah, I missed that.
She stalks by night, introducing Marvel's newest action bombshell.
Right.
And then the cat herself is saying, "The hour has come for the cat to strike."
Right.
Yeah, I love this cover.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very good.
So then we pop open the issue, and the first thing that happens is there's a coloring error on the splash page.
How dare you?
So the cat is jumping. She has her yellow suit, but, well, for one thing, her gloves, instead of being like cyan or whatever, they're kind of like this light baby blue. And then her mask, instead of being blue, is all yellow. So, yeah, it doesn't look right. And then she also has a claw on her chest.
Yeah, that's weird. Because if you look through the rest of the book, that symbol's always there, but it's black. So here the shadowing shows out that it's yellow. Okay. I think she's doing, because I'm guessing Marie Severin colored this, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can kind of tell by how it's colored that she colored it. Because all the background, the buildings are all like blue, and there's a lightning bolt. I think the yellow mask, it's just like she has a thing for coloring things all yellow, but I think it's like to reflect maybe the lightning bolt crack. Like
maybe. But then no, if you go to the next page, no, it's colored wrong through the whole 1, 2, 3, like the whole. Right. So wait a minute, maybe the cover's wrong. Maybe that's the problem. Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it as we go.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, something's wrong. Either the cover or.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
So yeah, the cat's jumping. Beware the claws of the cat, and basically, the cat is narrating how this is kind of her first night out in the job.
Yeah.
And she's already like, oh, maybe I should give up. No, I can't give up. That type of thing, right? So, and then there's the second person narration, which I'm a huge fan of. For now, you are the cat, right? Like, I love that kind of narration. Do you ever use that in your stories, Mike Dell?
No, not even once.
Maybe you should experiment.
But this is a great splash page. We should mention it's raining, and she's worried about clinging to the buildings with her claws, like she's going to slip off the buildings, and she's probably going to die because she can't climb up these buildings.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Yeah. And it's funny because then she's like, the storm is getting worse. My workouts with Dr. Tomolo, and we don't know who that is yet, right? Yeah. We'll find out why later. And then she's didn't include fooling around with Mother Nature.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because then there's an asterisk. Say what the asterisk.
It's like, nope, you haven't missed anything. Not yet. Keep reading and all will be revealed to you. Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Right. Did I tell you about how we had a guy on our show who was completely unfamiliar with these, like, speaking to the reader, narration captions? Yeah, it's so funny. I'm just totally used to them. But anyway. So then she's like, if those lightning bolts get any closer, zatch! Ugh, they did! Lightning hits like 2 feet away from her, like knocks her off the wall.
But it's great. Like, I love the way that's colored and inked.
Oh, yeah.
Like the lightning bolt's all yellow and everything else around it's all black. Like,
right, yeah. So now she's plummeting downward. She's like, You've got one chance, baby cakes, talking to herself, and only one.
So and again, this isn't a thought bubble. She's speaking this out loud.
Right. So she shoots out her claws they're like attached to, like, they have cables attached to them. So
that's like a different thing, right? She has.
Oh, it's not her actual claws from a glove? Okay.
I think she has like a little grappling hook deal.
Okay.
Right?
Kind of like Batman, but it's claws, yeah. And it's got 5 strings, like 5 cables, whatever.
Yeah.
So, so it's funny because she's talking to herself again. Made it! Now my foot claws can dig in as well. This equipment of the doctor's really works. But then it cuts to a thought bubble. Now I can retract my front claws. Right?
Yeah.
Just want anyone to hear her say that. But anyway,
she's shouting everything else. But
yeah. Yeah, and again, that awesome mask. Yeah, just so cool. Like, looking down at the ground. This is some good art. We'll talk about it later, though.
Yeah.
So then she's like trying to break into this building. So we see this really cool shot of her punching the glass with her fist. And then
she says the window. It's there's steel plating behind the glass.
Right. Better keep us quiet as my namesake now. I don't need a welcoming committee, but then suddenly, without warning, the entire window frame falls inward. So it falls forward, and huge, powerful arms reach out from nowhere. And we see this guy reaching out to grab her.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he picks her up and starts rustling her around. And she knees him in the chest.
Yeah, because he's holding her up in the air, and he says, well, look what the wind blew in, a slightly soggy pussycat.
Right.
Don't you know cats don't dig water, little girl? See that?
Yeah, little dig there.
Yeah. And the boss doesn't dig visitors, especially dames.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, she knees him in the chest to break free, and man, she cracks wise. She's got a little Spider-Man streak in her. She likes to crack wise when she's fighting and stuff.
That's right, yeah.
And she also talks to herself in the third person. Uh-oh, that rips it, woman. Hell, the gang's all here. Yeah, so.
Yep.
Bad guys, Michael.
Yep. And I'm just loving this overwritten dialogue. But anyway, so then they burst through the room. They've all got guns. They start shooting at her. Blam, bram. And
well, listen to this. Rough, not as rough as you, gents. At least I've never killed anyone. Not yet. Oh,
right.
Goodness. The cat is threatening to murder people.
Right.
Holy hell.
And then she's like, and I don't use guns, the insane weapon of an insane species. She's talking a lot here, right? Now, we got to read practically every bubble.
I know, because they're all great.
Violence gets violence. Didn't you ever learn anything from history? Or maybe from John and Yoko?
Yeah.
Wonk. Punches a guy.
John and Yoko.
Yep. I appreciate that reference. Anyway, so then now she goes to the fuse box and cuts she tears out the fuse box so she can kill the lights. And
I like when she's tearing it out. A guy is shooting a bullet just like an inch from her head.
Right.
she doesn't seem concerned at all.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. And then and then she's like, "That's better. Now the cat can see them, but they can't see the cat."
Yeah, because cats can see in the dark, Michael.
Right. So then another guy. So I guess this is the guy that shot her but missed. So he comes into the room and he's trying to figure out what's going on. But then she jumps on his back. And
I love how that's colored though. Like she's in the shadows, all blues and black, and then he's in all red down below.
Right. And he's trying to he's communicating to someone over like a.
Well, it's a phone.
Oh, it's just a phone. Oh,
it's wired into the wall. See the wire?
Okay, right. And so she interrupts him trying to notify his boss what's going on, and then she's like, "Looks like the big man hung up on you. So now you're going to tell me exactly where he is, and if you've got any bright ideas about stalling." "No, I can't tell you. He'd kill me, just like he's going to kill you." So now her eyes are green. Were they green before?
Yes. Yeah, the word green before.
Okay. And then all of a sudden a gas is released from the console, which ends up knocking her out. So I guess she's not immune, or she's immune to gas. Yeah.
Yeah, you can knock out cats with gas.
Okay.
No problem. Let me ask you this, Michael. Do you like the outfit better with the yellow or the blue mask?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think the blue is better, right?
Yeah, I kind of like the blue better. Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Because then the yellow really pops above her eye,
Exactly. That's the key.
But anyway.
Interesting. So yeah, now she's knocked out cold.
But yeah, you can really see the symbol there on her chest between her shapely bosoms.
Yes, her bosoms.
I should mention the inking here by Wally Wood is tremendous.
Of course, he's a master.
It's so good. But I was reading an interview with Marie Severin, and she said that when she saw the book, like I should mention Marie Severin drew the first 2 issues of the Cat, although all 4 issues had different creative teams because Wally Wood did not ink issue 2.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember who did the issues 3 and 4. I probably wrote it down somewhere. I'll look later. But anyway, she said that when she drew the cat and then she saw how Wally Wood inked her, it's like she's wearing saran wrap.
Yes.
Like he really inked the curves of her body to really make her breasts stand out.
Contours, yes.
Yes, with a lot of heavy blacks. So she's like, all the fellas liked it. Yeah, 'cause the cat looks pretty good. So yeah.
I would say that's a good shot right there of her unconscious on the ground. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so she passes out, and while she's knocked out, Michael, she starts reflecting on how she got here. A flashback.
Yes. Then we have the romance comics roots of the comic come out here, I think, a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
So she flashes back to 2 years ago, when she was just walking along, and the wind. Oh, she was getting ready to take the bus. She had her change out, and the wind knocked all of her change out of her hand.
Yeah, her and her buddy are trying to get to their college course at their college sophomores, and they're trying to take the bus to hurry up or something. And when she opens her purse, like the change just flies out of the purse.
Right.
And the clink, tinkle, plunk.
Yeah.
Hitting the ground.
And then we get some great dialogue here. So there's a cop. She bumps into a cop in order to reach her change, and then her friend is like, "A cop! Watch it, Greer. They don't care much for us student types." And then the cop responds, "The name is Bill Nelson, and you can tell your chum that my first day on the beat, I'd rather be called a policeman."
So he's a rookie.
Yeah. And then we get more great dialogue from the friend. "Okay, you two, knock off the sparks between the eyeballs bit. Time and the University of Chicago wait for no man or girl. I'll let you go for now, but I'll be seeing you later, miss."
How?
Yeah.
How will we be seeing her later? It's Chicago.
Right.
I live in Greensburg. It's a very small town. I never have ever run into someone I know. Yeah, he's just going to see her in Chicago?
Right. Did I ever tell you about the time I had this crush on a girl in Chicago, and me and my friend's way of finding her was to drive to Chicago, park our car, and just look for her?
Well,
it didn't work.
Yeah, I'm shocked at that. Seems like such a good idea. Yeah.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyway.
All I can say is thank God they've closed down the border. So Michael can't be coming in to stalk women.
Chicago.
But this cop here, this Bill Nelson fella, he does see her again. And he kept his word, it says in the narration. Bill cherished and protected her. and she felt more helpless than ever before because he seemed to like that in a woman. Uh-oh. Trouble.
Yeah, he's trouble, yeah.
Yeah.
This is so...
He's what we'd call a chauvinist, Mike.
Yes. So we get this weird romance where she's in love with him, but he says odd things to her. Like, okay, we have this next scene where she got a car from her dad. She's like, don't you think I could drive the new car Daddy gave me, Bill? It's her car, keep in mind. Yeah. And he's like, I feel like a fool, baby. Besides, I know more about these things.
Yeah, he's a man. He knows more about cars.
Now he's driving her car.
Yeah.
And then they get married. He carries her over the threshold. And then later, she's reading a book and she's talking to him. She's like, Bill, I've been thinking maybe I should go back to college, learn to be someone. And he's like, look, Greer, I love you, but I want a full-time wife, not a Phi Beta Kappa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her job is to sit at home, take care of the house, have his dinner ready, and then make sweet, sweet love to him all night. That's her job.
Right. That's right. And then we see a shot of her with a wrench in her hand, fixing some plumbing. She's all sweaty with hair hanging in her face. And he's like, you don't have to do that, honey. What do you think I'm here for? So, yeah, he's keeping her on a short leash, eh?
But they were very happy playing the newlywed game. The young patrolman went off to work, and the young wife couldn't wait till he got home.
Right.
Kissing. Oh, Bill, I missed you so much. Every minute. And that's right before they make the sweet, sweet love.
That's right. But it wouldn't last forever, because then one summer night, the starry-eyed couple left the local cinema unaware of what lay ahead. And then, hey, sounds like gunfire. We see pow. So this is an awkward scene. So then we see a guy running from a drugstore. A hold-up man dashed from the corner drugstore towards his getaway car, and Bill Nelson reacted as his training had taught him. So he holds up a gun to shoot. I'm a police officer up against the wall. But a second man emerged from the shadow of the doorway, and in the madness born of desperation, shot the off-duty policeman. Balam! So he shoots Bill.
And again, notice how the coloring here, yellow and blue. So she's using yellow again for violence and stuff. But
Oh, good point. So then she's cradling him in his arms. In the horrible moments that followed, Bill's life faded away, even as Greer held her in her arms. So he gone. So
they show him at the funeral or at the gravesite, and her dad has his arm around her and he said, my dear, you must try to be strong. Strong, Daddy, I don't know how to be strong. All my life there's been someone more than willing to take care of me.
Right. Now she's screwed.
Yeah, so then the next panel, she's staring out a window soaked with rain, and she's crying. And when the shock began to wear off, the loneliness became unbearable. The memories here are too painful. I've got to move back into the city. So now she's looking for a job, Michael.
Yep. So this is great. So she's looking for a job, and she's like, I had 2 years of college with a biology major, and I worked part-time at a lab. And then the boss, it's obvious that you're intelligent and capable, but I see hundreds of girls like you every week. Do you type by any chance? So no one respects her education, right?
So the next panel, she's holding up the one ads, and and then in the background, it's like just
floating text. Floating text. There's nothing in research now, hun, but we do need a receptionist. And then I'll call you. What does it say? I'll call you if
something comes up.
Yeah. And then what if you remarry Mrs. Nelson? And what about children? Ooh, yes. Yeah. The plight of women in the workforce. Yep. But then someone comes along and says, excuse me, but could you please tell me if this contains a chemical preservative? I seem to have misplaced my glasses. And then Greer says, Dr. Tomolo, I was in your physics class, Greer Grant, and your glasses are on your head, just like old times. So finally, someone who needs, someone with her education, right?
Yeah, she just happened to run into her old professor at the grocery store.
Right, in a city of, how much? 3 million? Yeah, 8 million, where are they? So anyway, she gets hired to be this woman's lab assistant, right?
Yeah, and again, this is her college professor, so they're chums.
Right. So then she went back to school? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. To build up her
because now that she's got a job working in the lab, she can take classes too at the college and stuff.
Right. So now she's back to school. She's the assistant for Dr. Tomolo. And then we cut back to the present, right?
Yep.
And she wakes up and we get some more of that great dialogue. Ugh, where? Oh, I almost forgotten. It's my fan club. Sorry, no autographs. And we see these bad guys kind of standing over her. And then some more bad guys walk in, and
this guy's great. The main bad guy. He's wearing those Judper pants again that Doc said.
Oh yes, that's right.
Judpers, and he's got a scarf around his neck and like a riding crop.
Right. Interesting guy. So he's
they just call him the boss, right? Is that his name?
Right, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, Mal Donald Bane. That is the worst name you can possibly.
Right. That sounds like not made up. It sounds like they based it on a real person.
Mal Donald Bane.
Right.
Okay. Sure.
So this is weird. We find out his secret plan, his secret origin. I'm opening a nationwide chain of health emporiums. These will be very unique clubs, and I need a group of specialists to help me operate them. So this is his master plan, right?
Yeah, he's opening up a health club.
Right.
and he needs hot ladies to work it. That's pretty much what he's doing here.
Right. So then, specialists with the same powers you have gained to Dr. Tomolo's rash initiative.
Yeah. Thanks to Dr. Tomolo's rash.
Oh, thanks. Right. So he has got an equipment that's going to create an army of Amazons to work in my health clubs and carry out my plan. Oh, it's great.
If only I could create an army of Amazons.
Yeah.
Life would be so grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he has a little collar he's going to put around her neck, and then he'll be able to control her mind. Now, Michael, what we like to call this is symbolism. See?
Yes.
How men control women.
Right.
That's
Subtext.
what's going on here. Yeah, that's what's going on here.
Right.
But
So
of course, Greer fights him off and knocks the collar away, and yeah.
Right. Like, even though her hands are tied behind her back, she knocks them away. And then she's like, "You idiot! You touched me! I've warned you 1,000 times never to touch me! Never!"
Yeah. She shoulder blocks the other guy into him.
Right.
So his henchman touches him, and he goes apeshit. He
Right.
is not happy about this at all. And so he calls out some big goon from the back.
Right. The gimp.
Zabo.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy is wearing nothing but underwear and like a metal belt, and yeah, that's pretty much
he's
it.
Bald and he's just jacked up. Yeah. Zabo.
Right. So he comes in and throws the first guy, picks him up and tosses him aside. But then in the meantime, Hellcat. Whoops. Cat rips, tears out of her bindings.
Yeah, because she does kind of have like superhero strength.
Right.
Like not like, I don't know how strong she would be, but not like Superman levels or Spider-Man levels, but she's stronger than a normal human.
Right. And by the way, quick Wikipedia: Tigra's powers are the result of a combination of science, magic, and mental energy, utilized by Dr. Joanne Marie Tumulo and her other cat people. But we'll get to that later, probably.
Yeah. And you keep saying Tigra. Is that the Canadian way to pronounce it?
See,
it's Tigra, Mike.
I always thought it was Tigra.
It's tiger, like a tiger. Tiger.
Are you sure about that?
Do you call them tigras? Like tigers?
Tigra.
Tigers. Tigers.
Oh, wait a minute. Mike Dell. Say it again.
Tigra.
Okay, can you hear this? Tell me if you can hear this. Wait. I'm going to unplug my... just a minute. Listen to this.
Tigra.
I was right. Google said it's
insane.
Tigra. I was right.
Why would you... That goes against all common sense, Tigra.
I thought you were an English major, Mike Dell. What was...
Tigra.
Hey, can you type? Because, your degree's not coming in handy right now.
You got me on Herb Trimpe, and now you got me on... So you're telling me her name is Tigra?
Yes!
That is crazy. That's insane to me. I feel like I'm in a different world now. Like, this is a Twilight Zone episode, and I woke up in a world similar to mine, but completely different. Because now I'm in a universe where it's Tigra instead of Tigra.
Yes. I think this is a little bit like the Mandela effect, except it's kind of like opposite. I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm going to have to verify this with some other sources.
All right.
Just some robotic voice you found on the internet.
Oh, wait a minute. Would you like to hear? Wait. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I've also found one of how to pronounce the character in Marvel. Listen to this.
Tigra.
Oh, now what's up? Oh, yeah.
Okay. One for you, one for me. Okay.
Now what's up? Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
It just makes no sense to pronounce it Tigra.
Uh-huh.
Tigra. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
So anyway, so then we get some more of this great dialogue. So Kat is fighting this monster dude. What's his name?
Zabo.
Zabo. And she's like, so the hand is quicker than the foot. Thanks for the pugilistic tip. What is pugilistic? What does that mean?
Like if you're a boxer, it's a pugilism. The art of pugilism.
Interesting.
Pugilist. Yeah.
Okay. So she's fighting him, and then jumps into, is this the air duct system?
Yeah.
It's gigantic, yeah.
Like, well, yeah, it does look weird there. I think she's jumping into I can't explain that either.
Yeah, it's
because on the left
gigantic,
she's opening up a grill to crawl into a vent, but it looks like she's also jumping through a doorway vent or something.
It's like a giant vent with an opening to a smaller vent. Because then she's crawling through, and it's only like a few inches high.
Yeah,
right.
So Zabo cannot follow her.
Right. And then she makes her way to the roof and crawls out of the chimney and comes out to the roof of the building, and then
some strategery, Michael. That's how
yeah.
we call it. She leaves the vent gate off to make it look like she came out, but she actually crawled back inside the chimney.
Ah, yes, smart.
It's clinging to the sides, and yeah.
Right. Good. I didn't even notice that. Smart. Yeah. So then she goes back down, and then she's like, now she's got a flashback again to Dr. Tumolo, right?
Dr. Tumolo.
So then the doctor's like, ironically, Greer, a man paid for this experimental equipment. You'll meet him today. So then, sure enough, she meets...
Oh, yeah, we should say, by the way, this Dr. Tumolo, she's doing research on how to help women reach their full potential.
Right.
And this bad guy, this Mal Dulobane or whatever his name is, he paid her to conduct this research, but he has nefarious plans for the research. Right. And he waits to see how she designs all her equipment, and then he steals the specs, and he designs his own equipment and his own hideout, so he can conduct his own evil experiments. But the idea behind the good doctor's experiment is that she wants to help women reach their full potential.
Right. And this is where we also learned that he has a phobia about being touched.
Yeah, because she warns Greer not to touch him.
Right.
Do we ever find out why he has that fear?
No, I don't think so. No. This is also where Dr. what's the bad guy's name?
Mal Dubelmain or something like that.
Right, Mal. Where Mal introduces, so he's got his first guinea pig, but this goes against. But Dr. Tumolo wanted to test people before they use them, and he's like, no, we got someone. We're gonna use her instead, right? And so Dr. Tumolo's like, this goes against everything we planned and blah, blah, blah. Totally irrational. What have I got myself into? I can't continue under these conditions. And
what a fancy lad. And by the way, his name is Mal Donalbane. But look at this fella. He's wearing a red hunting coat.
Right.
He still has the white, the Jedper pants, the white flared pants there that horseback riders wear. The riding crop, brown leather gloves, brown leather boots. Man, he's a dandy. And he's wearing an ascot.
What's an ascot?
It's like a scarf around the neck there.
Yes. Maybe when people appear on our show more than 5 times, we should give them those riding pants instead of a smoking jacket. How about that?
Judpers. I'm just so proud that I remember the name. Judpers.
Yeah. So Dr. Tumolo is ready to give up, but Greer's like, no, you can't give up. You work too hard. Test me. Let me be your subject. We can continue on our own. So sure enough, the next day. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing.
Oh, yeah. Just to clarify one other thing, this Dr. Tumolo wanted to she did not want to experiment on the woman that he brought because she didn't think she was qualified or like.
Right. She hasn't been what's the word?
Assessed maybe, but you also have to have certain qualities to be like you need to be diligent, hardworking, studious, that kind of stuff to really get everything to work.
Sure. Yeah. Surely. You're right.
You have to put in the work.
Right.
It's kind of like steroids, Gil.
Right.
Steroids. You still got to put in the work.
Okay. Okay. I'll remember that. So this is where, so now she does have Shirley hooked up with the blonde hair. And Shirley's like, this is really far out. I bet you're surprised I'm doing so well. And she's like, I do wish you'd stick more closely to the prescribed regimen. Regimen?
Yeah, regimen. Yeah.
Okay, Miss Bryant or Ms. Bryant. And then secretly, she's also working on Greer as well. All the data thus far confirms what I feared, Greer. Shirley's attitude is inhibiting her progress. Your gain of perceptual abilities already far exceeds hers. So they're increasing her psychic ability.
Yeah, they explain it here down below. Oh, look, Michael, there's a squirrel. Again, one of the three, the Holy Trinity.
Holy Trinity, that's right.
But where do they say this? Greer hungered to explore the infinite frontier of her mind, the ability to discover and incorporate new knowledge, an ability we all have, but which only a few recognize. I hope you're listening, Michael.
Oh, yes.
Her intensified perceptions were like an embodiment of that mythical quality known as women's intuition.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun. So she's kind of like has a sixth sense. Like she can look at this squirrel and she can tell that he has an injured forepaw.
Right. And then but it's funny because then she can also look at what is this, the piece of machinery? She's like, I can detect the movement of every part of this machine, and if something goes cockeyed, I can locate the problem immediately.
It's almost like cosmic awareness.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit.
She has feminine intuition.
Mm-hmm. So then, and then she's like jumping around on a tree, and she's like, another few months in the trees, and I could take on Johnny Weissmuller, who I believe played Tarzan.
That is correct, Michael. I'm impressed that Canadian would know such a thing.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. And then they're talking about Shirley, the other girl, and she's like, I'm sorry to say this, but Shirley's a poor example. She's totally uncooperative, and her progress is spoiled by her lack of genuine interest and dedication. So then...
And by the way, Greer looks awesome here.
Oh, yes. She
Just
does.
great.
Yes.
Right.
Shadows are in all the right places.
Yes, Wally Wood knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Wally Wood is also the artist who co-created Power Girl, if I recall correctly, right?
Are you sure?
If he didn't create her, he was the one that augmented certain parts of her anatomy. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
God bless this Wally Wood. All right. Yeah.
So then basically Dr. Tumolo is decided, that's it, I'm going to call this off tomorrow night. I'm done with this other Shirley girl. But the next day she goes into her whatever lab and she sees that all the bad guy or like the Mal and his hooligans, they've got Shirley dressed up like a cat. She's like, What's this about? And like Shirley puts on the costume, and she's like, okay, I'll wear the mask too, but I still think it looks like a Halloween costume. And then the guy's like, your opinion becomes less and less relevant, my dear. And so then they convince her, like, no, look.
Well, he says, adorn your lovely neck with this accessory, and I'm sure we will see eye to eye about everything. Dun, dun, dun.
Right. So now, so she puts on the one of those what do they call the collars, right?
Yep.
It's like a mind control collar. And
so now a man can control her.
That's right. So she's like, so then now she has to fight these guys, right?
No. He wants to like test her out.
Right.
So, yeah, she doesn't have to fight. It's not like she's doing this on her free will. He is instructing her to fight.
Right. Surely attack and disable those three men. And then this is the same guy that got beat up earlier, right? Hey, boss, what do we do? Yeah. She picks up this guy and like uses his legs to kick the other guy. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. And so then now those three guys are down for the count. And then she's like, and then he's like, now woman, I want you to climb up there to the top level. And then she uses her claws to climb up. And then and then he wants her to like leap across to the other side of like the inside of this building, and she shoots her claws. But the narration says it was impossible to tell exactly what went wrong. Perhaps the equipment failed. Perhaps she panicked. Help! She's falling. No, she doesn't quite make it. Perhaps Shirley's irregular training never gave her the extra measure of strength needed for the task.
Yeah, Micah, we need to talk about the shooting of the claws, because, again, originally you said she shot her claws. And I'm like, no, it's like a grappling hook. But here in this picture, it clearly looks like she's shooting her claws out of her glove.
Actual claws.
But look how they're, like, the 5 claws are like connected to a flat piece of steel.
It makes no sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's cables coming out of the back of it leading to her fingers. But that makes no sense.
No.
Like, because how would that flat piece of steel? That's why I figured there was an extra grappling hook she carried with her somehow, maybe in her cleavage or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't understand how it can shoot out of her hands.
No, unless I mean, the only way this would work is if they were attached to the back of her hand, but they were just like separate, like almost like I don't know what you'd call that. Yeah, it's weird.
But then, because then again, remember she had that little thought balloon where she's like, now I want to retract my claws. So like, how can she? Yeah, this doesn't make sense. How can she retract?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, this needed more clarification.
Right.
By, Roy the boy. When
Roy the boy. Yeah. So now we see that she's dead. We see her hand on the ground.
Yeah, she tried to shoot her grappling hook. I interrupted and confused people, but she tried to shoot her grappling hook and missed, and she falls and dies.
Yikes! Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Dr. Tumolo is like, she's like, oh, I've got to get out of here. Tell the police. This door shut. She opens up a door. What? More of those peculiar costumes? Dozens of them. I'll take one for evidence of this scheme.
Yes, and Michael, here is see how all these costumes exist? Well, later on, our beloved Patsy Walker, she comes and she finds one of these costumes.
Right.
And she puts it on. So that's how she becomes Hellcat. But that's why the costumes look so similar, because it's one of the same costumes. Yeah.
I see. So, yeah. So then Dr. Tumolo, so she meets back up with Greer and explaining what's going on. And we've got
again, Greer looks awesome.
Oh, I was going to point that out. That's a great shot of her. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Flawless. And then, so this is great. So then the bad guys come to Dr. Tumolo's house. Oh, so Greer leaves. She's like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to pack a bag and come back to stay with you. In the meantime, put that cat costume in the safe. Right. Then I'll report the heinous crime I witnessed to the authorities, and Greer thanks. But meanwhile, outside, the bad guys pull up in a car. The boss says that Tumolo Dame was snooping around and saw Cheryl take the plunge. So then he's like, we gotta shut her up. Yeah, but we want it to look like an accident. Give me that stick of dynamite. Then Dr. Tumolo's on the phone. Hello, is this homicide? I want to report a boom! The house blows up. Just as Greer returns, badoom, we see her holding the bag and the house explodes. I don't know. I guess the guys got out in time.
Yeah, I guess. But it seems weird if you want to make it look like an accident. Give me that stick of dynamite.
I know. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Well, I guess maybe they're thinking a gas explosion or something, but it's a gas leak. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe have her slip in the shower. I don't know.
Maybe something. Right. So I'm just saving this picture for later. Sorry, give me a second. This is ridiculous. But anyway, so then she.
What picture? Her lifting up the.
This whole transition. This is one of those ones I'm gonna have to tweet or something later on. This is funny.
She looks great when she's lifting.
Oh yes, she does. She's like, hold on, I'm coming. Must lift this beam, and there's a great shot of her, anatomy.
She's very buxom.
Yes. So she's lifting up the beam, and then basically Dr. Tumolo dies here, right?
Yep.
So then she's like, oh no, what am I going to do? And this is where she decides, this costume gives me an idea.
Well, before that, she says, my God, she's gone. I won't wait for the police. I'm going after the murderer myself now.
Right.
So she's become a vigilante already.
Right. So then
finds the costume, and that brings us back to the beginning of the book, where she's
leaping through the air, right? And then we cut back to the present, right? Now she's back in that building.
Yeah.
And this is my least favorite scene.
Another pop culture reference.
Yeah. So then she comes through the air vent, and there's this guy kind of like guarding a doorway. And she's like, I must be silent. So I'll try a Spock maneuver on this character. Just apply a little pressure on the proper nerve. And so she puts her hand on his neck, and he his eyes roll back, and he spits out a cigar and just falls over unconscious, right? Yeah,
just for you kids at home, this does not work.
Right.
If you get in a fight, don't rely on the Spock technique.
Right.
It will not work.
So then she this is another awkward page, panel. She kind of looks like she's jumping from the air, but I don't know where these guys are standing. They're kind of just standing where? In a room? I don't know.
Yeah.
So she, and then she.
Look at the sound effect: scrunch, 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 whack, whack.
Oh,
She's karate
I
chopping
guess
him.
she's like kind of like crawling on the wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what she's doing because you can see the little claw marks.
Right.
She's crawling on the ceiling.
right. But there's no distinction between ceiling and wall, so it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, because the background's solid orange.
Right.
Yeah.
So she like karate chops these guys, I guess on the same weak spot, right, that everyone has, knocks them out.
Yep.
And then she sees another guy.
Yeah, he's sleeping, and she's, I'll make sure he doesn't wake. I made sure he won't wake up. And then she picks him up on her shoulder and carries him out. So I guess she did the nerve thing again.
Yeah,
or she killed
they
him?
don't show
I don't
what
know.
he did.
Maybe-
Yeah.
I'm gonna, in my version of the story, she slices his throat.
Yeah, there you go. So then so then that guy disappears. And
she
then
puts him in a closet or something.
right. And then the boss guy is is calling to that guy over like an intercom. Ferd, come in, Ferd. Why haven't you reported on schedule? Acknowledge. So then she's like, I don't have much time. With luck, I can sabotage the wiring before they catch up with me. So meanwhile, I don't know what was going on in this scene, but we see that wrestler guy with wearing underwear, and then the bad guy is just putting on his house coat like he was just, I don't know what they were doing. But,
Yeah. I never even made that connection until you bring it up. I go, well, yeah, it looks like Zabo and him are making sweet, sweet love.
Right,
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Right. So then, meanwhile, while they're, he's like, let's find out what's going on down there. So meanwhile, she's messing with the electrical system, right?
Yeah, and look at the inks again here by Wally Wood. Just awesome.
Incredible, yeah.
And the coloring here, the red and the black. Oh, my goodness.
Right. So then they burst through the doorway, I guess, and the bad guy starts shooting, and the big guy is running in the same direction the bullets are going. So
Yeah, he's like
really
firing
well thought out.
just
Right.
over Zabo's shoulder.
Right,
It's
right.
Like, it's like, get her, Zabo. Well, I put these bullets right by your ear.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And Kat jumps through the air, and then she I don't know what you call it. Is there a name for this move? But
It's very close in the wrestling world to a monkey flip.
okay. So yeah, she lands on the ground and kind of does like a what is that called? Like a handstand, but uses her legs to flip him over her body and make him fly through the air, right?
Yeah, now, Mike, you're familiar with the monkey flip. Like they'll throw someone into the corner in the turnbuckles. They'll run up, jump on them. So like they're standing on their thighs. They grab the back of their head and they fall backwards and flip them over. Okay. Monkey flip. So it's very similar to this. But
Right, and then he smashes into this machine and kind of destroys the machine. And then Val, is it Mal? Mal's like, Zabo, you killed him. You fool, my equipment destroyed, my glorious plan ruined. Au contraire, your plan has ruined you.
yeah.
And then Fred, Joey, look at these names. Where are you? Get in here. And then so she runs after him, but yeah, he turns around and shoots, fires.
Oh, well, she says, I gave him the night off. I wanted to be alone with you.
Right, little innuendo there, right?
Yeah, and he shoots at her twice. Bam, bam. And she turns off the lights again, I guess.
Right, well, yeah.
Well,
No,
she doesn't.
no.
It's just a happy little accident. At that moment, the malfunctioning electrical system shorts out.
Right, and we get this is a cool scene, where then he's like, the lights, I can't see. So now he's all just in shadow, and then we just see the cat's eyes, right, in the darkness. I can see you perfectly, Mal. Are you afraid? Are you as afraid of the dark as you are of being touched? Huh? What are you getting at? Better not come any closer, I'll shoot. Go ahead, Mal. You only have one bullet left, and if it doesn't kill me, I'll get you. This is a weird scene. What do you mean? What are you planning to do? Greer's only reply is the sinister sound of metal claws springing from their steely sheaths. Click. Stop! No one can touch me! No one! Blam! And then the loud pistol shot fills the black void. For a moment, too, there was silence in the pitch dark chamber. Then the cat is thinking, he really did it. He was so afraid of my raking claws that he turned his gun back on himself. So he killed himself to avoid getting attacked by her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, I would let her touch me wherever she wants.
Right.
But desperately afraid that I would touch him, he took the coward's way out. I almost feel sorry for the madman. Almost. But I love these bottom three panels here. On the far left, there's a gun, shooting, blam, a big blam, and everything's red and black. Then the middle little panel, solid black. And then the far right, it's the cat standing over the dead body. But we just see like his dead hand and the gun on the ground and smoke coming from the gun. and again, all red background with black up top. Man, the coloring and inking in this issue, I think, is the best we've ever encountered.
Right, it's totally different from what we see in most comics of this era.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
And you don't appreciate how effective coloring can be until you read something like this, and you're like, oh my god, it's like a whole new world.
Right. I agree. So then she basically kind of like swings away to like, a nearby rooftop, but she's feeling a little bit guilty, right? She's like, maybe I should have gone to the police. Maybe I didn't have the right to avenge the deaths of Shirley and Dr. Tumolo in this way. All our plans for the betterment of womankind. I did what I did. I did what I set out to do, and I did it well. But have I misused my powers? Have I become a stronger woman, only to become a poorer human being? And then it says, but answers, if any, are for tomorrow. Tonight, the cat rests.
Next, Michael, the owl and the pussycat.
Right.
Whoa. What's the pussycat? You ever see that movie?
Is that Woody Allen?
Yeah. Well, he started. He didn't direct it.
I think so, that years ago.
But the owl is the next issue. The old Daredevil villain, the owl. But we should point out one other thing about this, Michael. When she leaps out of the building's on fire.
Right.
All right. So the building is burning to the ground. She still left all the 3 henchmen in there sleeping unconscious.
Right. Good
so
point.
she just murdered those 3 dudes.
Good point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
It's almost like it's her first time out, and she accidentally murders 3 people, kind of like the Wolfpack, where they blew up that house of children.
That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, it's funny.
It is a very similar ending to the Wolfpack when you think about it, because they also went to a rooftop to like think about things and what they did, was it right or wrong, and yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah.
So Larry Hama ripped off the cat.
Could be. Yep.
Huh. So there it is, the Cat issue 1 from 1972. I got to tell you, Michael, I love this.
I got to say, when I was reading it, I thought it was a little bit tedious, but now that we've reread it and analyzed it, I do think it's better the more I think about it.
Yeah, like the writing is what it is, But the art here is just spectacular. Like, her style is very Silver Agey.
Right,
so,
definitely.
And again, there's some panels that look, clunky and awkward, especially some like the figures and stuff. But then when you see her drawing Greer, she always looks awesome, and the cat looks great. But the coloring and the inking is really what sets this out. It is just marvelous.
I agree. And the thing about the writing is the dialogue is rough, but the plotting, at least it's not cliche. It's original, right?
Yeah, the structure's interesting. That we get 2 big flashbacks,
right,
to fill in the background. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's you don't usually see 2 separate flashbacks like that. Usually you just get 1 or.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's interesting because usually when someone is like a novice writer, it's kind of like there's awkwardness, but it's also original because she's not just copying other people, right? So I think that's what's cool about it.
And again, the feminist stuff here is very heavy-handed, but you got to remember it's 1972. There weren't comic books dealing with this in 1972.
Right. Right.
It's pretty impressive that it even got approved. Really, when you think about it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a historic, like a milestone comic for what it was doing, and yeah, Murray Severin's coloring is great, and the Wally Wood inking.
Yeah, I agree.
Love it.
So are you going to go on and complete the series?
I might actually read the other because it's just 3 more. So yeah,
right.
I
probably will too, just because it's so short, right?
Yeah, I want to see. Like I said, she only did the first 2 books, I think. Why wouldn't I have written down who did the other ones? Because I'm a chimp. Yeah, I write it down. But anyway, so I can't remember who did the other 2. But and like I said, Wally Wood does not ink the second one, so this is the only time we get this creative team. But it's pretty awesome.
That's too bad. Yeah, very.
So I don't know, Michael. I want to go 8. I'm gonna go.
Really?
Yeah, just because of the art. It's so good. Like, I really love the art. So yeah.
Like
I said, the coloring and inking here is just next level stuff. It's like you can look at this and study it and be like, oh, this could be a textbook on how to ink and color a comic book. It's awesome.
I could see that. I'm going to give it they'll give it a 7 because, like I said, there's a lot of awkwardness to the writing, but it is original. I'll give it that for sure.
Yeah, 7's perfectly fair. I'm just blown away though by the coloring and the inking, so I'm going
right.
And also, there's a squirrel, one of the holy trinities.
Right. Yep.
So there you go. The Cat, issue 1 from 1972, highly recommended. All right, Michael.
Woo-wee!
Next week. Are you going to keep the cat theme going?
I was considering it, but I'm going to keep up with the theme. You know how we tend to just happen to be, reading the same comics and picking the same comics? I got a feeling I got another one for you here.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were in the middle of reading this series. Sword of the Atom, number 1.
What?
Sword of the Atom from 1983.
What?
Haven't you ever heard of the Atom?
Now, this is that little fella.
That's
who,
right.
Like, you can shrink. And yeah, we've talked about the Atom before when we did that Justice League issue that I liked. But why the sword? He doesn't have a sword.
This is a reimagining where, the regular iteration of the Atom was not really selling well, so they decided to kind of, add in a fantasy element to see if that would work instead.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it didn't.
We'll see. We'll see.
Who wants the Atom with the fantasy element?
We'll see.
Does he ride a dragon?
Nobody does ride a frog. No joke. Okay? No joke. So yeah.
My goodness.
Sword of the Atom. Woo! All right. So yeah.
I guess we'll get. I was going to ask you a question about the Atom's background, but I guess we'll get into it. I know we talked about it on the Justice League issue, but I was going to ask, was Ant-Man before the Atom shrinking? Because I remember the old Atom, the Golden Age Atom, was like just a tough guy. He was just a wrestler, right?
Well, the true origin of the shrinking superhero is Doll Man. He was the first one. Doll Man.
That is just a ridiculous name. What kind of a man comes up with that name for himself? I'm Doll Man.
Those were different times. Before action figures, everything was a doll, okay?
I'm a Doll Man.
Yep.
All right. Yes. Let me guess, that's DC, right?
Of course. Oh, actually, sorry. No, technically owned by DC, but created by Quality Comics.
Oh.
Yep.
What a misnomer in the name. Quality Comics. All right. So, again, tell the kids what this is. Sword of the Atom number 1 from 1983?
Yes, 1983 by Gil Kane.
Oh, I love Gil Kane.
That's right. So, yeah, definitely be sure to join us next week. Flea Market Fantasy, every week we pick a different Bronze Age comic. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. You can listen to our podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, not iTunes, under Comic Book Syndicate. You can also find us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the Comic Book Syndicate website. So until next Tuesday, disperse!